Well, hello, home audience. I'm in the process of weeding through my book collection. And as I did, as you will too probably, once you pull your books out of a bookcase, you start seeing things that you didn't remember you had. Now, given the context that there is a lot of uh, invective that one sees on social media, a lot of argumentative, attacking kinds of expressions and so forth. When I saw this book, getting back to the book, it really struck me as something that might help to sort of spice up all these verbal battles. Now, this book is called Barbs from the Bard. That may come across as reversed to you. I think it will. Shakespearean Insults with Modern Translations and Notes. So now what I'd like to do is introduce some Shakespearean insults with the hope that you will be able to use these either in person or on social media or just in your head at the appropriate times. Let's start. Now, by the way, just one precursor. So all of these are ad hominem attacks from the Latin, meaning a personal attack, a labeling and blaming of the person and their inherent characteristics, rather than, as they say, you should judge the behavior and not the person. Well, they're judging the person here, Shakespeare, rather. Thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth less than a mother's hope. Translation: you are the most hideous creature ever imagined, and your morally and physically deformed existence is an insult to your parents and a dangerous blot upon the world. Here's another one along those lines. Heap of wrath, foul, indigested lump, as crooked in thy manners as thy shape. See, you're a hideous creature, and I don't think highly, right? Here's one. Reminds me of something people used to say in old friends of mine. I will beat thee into handsomeness. Here's another. Sell while you can, for you are not for all markets. In other words, take what you can get and consider yourself lucky. Okay, now, ugly is a hard thing to remedy. So let's go for something that is not as serious, right? Changeable. So, for example, the poorly dressed. Let's see what Shakespeare says about people who are poorly dressed. What words does he put in the mouths of his characters? There can be no kernel in this light nut. The soul of this man is in his clothes, meaning he's all icing, no cake. The soul of the man is in his clothes, nothing else. Here's another. Seem he a dove, his feathers are but borrowed. In other words, he's not what he appears, or he's a charlatan. This is interesting. It says, she's rustling in unpaid for silk. And basically, in clothes and beyond that, she's living beyond her means. What are you thinking of these so far? They're colorful, aren't they? Here's one that could be used today. I don't approve of this, by the way. I don't think you should hurt people's feelings. I really don't. So actually, I'll just say off to the side here, it's probably better to think these than to say them, because there's no need to throw more ad hominem attacks into the discourse, private or public. And yet, these are colorful and from a literary point of view, worthwhile. A monster, a very monster in apparel. This means you're a fashion victim, to use my own interpretation. I could read the section about marriage, but I won't. I will go back to This section on the ugly. You're familiar with narcissism. Get thee hence. Had thou Narcissus in thy face, to me thou wouldst appear most ugly. That's from Antony and Cleopatra. So, in other words, you're so displeasing to the eye that even if you were Narcissus, who was a very great-looking youth, which is why he fell in love with his reflection in the pond, you would still be ugly. Which also reminds me, since we're on ugly, of something that Winston Churchill one time said in a society party once the night had gotten advanced. It was probably about 11:30 or 12, and a woman walked up, an older lady walked up to Winston Churchill, and she says, "Sir, you are drunk." And he says, "That may be, madam, but tomorrow I will be sober and you will still be ugly." Not nice, but, funny. Here's another one about ugliness. And this is from Julius Caesar. Where wilt thou find a cavern dark enough to mask thy monstrous visage? Meaning face, French word, right? Their definition is the best you can do is to try and hide your face. Here, this is a good one. Whatsoever cunning fiend it was that wrought upon thee so preposterously hath got the voice in hell for excellence. Meaning, whoever got you looking like that took the monster prize. I have to admit that in this book, Barbs from the Bard, Shakespearean Insults with modern translations and notes. With this book, I'd have to say that I'm not completely convinced of the translations. I think there's sort of a looseness to this because the author is trying to be funny. Let's see if we can have one more. One more good one. This is on boring conversation. More of your conversation will infect my brain, which is actually really just shut up. Well, that takes us to the end. Appropriately, that takes us to the end of this piece. And again, for those of you who cannot sleep without seeing a video from this 30-day video challenge, which I continue to progress closer and closer to 30 consecutive days. Have a good day tomorrow and a good night. Where's the button? I mean, what is it with hiding the button?